One, two, one, two, one, two. Here we go. Welcome to the Catalyst Podcast, raw, real, and unedited. My name is Jason. And as we always say, you can find Catalyst at Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. You can hear the podcast created through Spreaker on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, iHeart, and Amazon. The Catalyst has the power to create change, and we hope that's what this podcast will do. Now, if you would like to be a part of this podcast as a guest or a contributor, you can email us at catalystmotivation561@gmail.com. Catalystmotivation561@gmail.com. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 42 of the Catalyst Podcast. We've broken the 40 barrier. We're going to 50. Those of you who have been consistent listeners, we appreciate you. Those who are new listeners, we appreciate you and hope that you would spread the word. Again, this is something that was a long time in the making, and it took two dramatic events to create it. And I'm really excited about it, and I'm very proud of it. Is it technically the best show? Probably not. But that's okay. It doesn't have to be. Is it, does it have a great, cool bumper and sponsors yet? No, not yet, but that's okay. Because it gives me the ability to share my story. And there's somebody out there who's had something similar or can relate to it. But also what we're doing right now, this kind of taking different topics and talking about them. Really relative to what's going on in today's world. And, I hope you enjoy it. I hope you can get something out of it. And with that being said, today we're going to dive into that feeling we've all had at some point. Imposter Syndrome. And again, this is something I can really, really relate to, especially with starting this podcast. So let's go and dive in. Let me ask you this. Have you ever nailed a presentation, aced an interview, or crushed a project, then immediately convinced yourself that everyone thinks you're like a fluke? Yep. That was me. The great poet Maya Angelou, a total powerhouse, once said, "I did then what I knew how to do. Now I know better. I do better." The one thing is, imposter syndrome makes us feel like we've never actually known better. So let's break it down. All right? Imposter syndrome is that voice in your head whispering, or sometimes even shouting, that you're not as good as people think you are. You downplay your accomplishments, your attributes, success to luck, most of the time, and you live in a constant fear of being found out. A lot of things hitting home for me here, folks. Psychologists define imposter syndrome as the feeling of inadequacy that persists despite evidence of success. It's that nagging voice in your head whispering, "You got lucky this time," or "They have no idea what you're doing." Right? You fooled them all. And I can relate to this in many, many parts of my life. This is how I felt. Whether it was working in radio or working at as being a trainer, whether it be with United Healthcare or T-Mobile or Aflac, and I always thought that I was going to get found out, that I'm a fraud. And here's the thing, though: imposter syndrome is a sneaky little liar. It can hold you back from taking risks, sharing your voice, and truly owning your accomplishments. And man, that's me, or at least that was a version of me. So everyone knows, I've talked about this before. I launched this podcast in August of last year after a half decade of kind of figuring and holding out and everything. And then the cancer came, and after I was done with the cancer, I finally started putting pieces together, and I was really excited to share my ideas with people. But right before I was about to drop that first episode, I panicked. What if everyone thinks I'm a total phony? What if I have nothing valuable to offer, right? Luckily, I talked to a good friend of mine, a radio colleague, and he reminded me a quote from Neil Gaiman. Remember when you were 5 years old, you had complete faith in your ability to do anything. Right? You could do anything. You could conquer the world. So what changed? Man, that hit me hard. Somewhere along the way, I lost that childhood confidence. Now listen, Imposter Syndrome is a little sneaky gremlin. It holds us back from pursuing our dreams, sharing our voices, and truly thriving. But here's the good news. It's totally normal, and we can fight it. Let's talk about it. So first, and excuse me for, I'm coming down with a little bit of a cold, so I do apologize about the sniffles and everything. But again, we're raw, real, and unedited. We don't edit this thing, man. We might redo them, but we never edit them for content. So let's do this. Let me reframe that inner voice that we all have. Instead of I'm a fraud, try I'm learning and growing. Focus on the journey, not just the destination. Second, celebrate your wins, big and small. We hear that a lot, right? Did you finally finish that blog post? High five yourself. Finally mastered that new skill? Do a victory dance. Because seriously, who's watching? We can go down a rabbit hole on that. I don't know who's watching, but you understand what I mean. So, here's something that you might want to think about. All right? So, again, reframe your thinking, right? Focus on facts, right? Write down the accomplishments, big and small. Got that promotion, nail the client call, jot it down. When imposter syndrome strikes, revisit it. Celebrate with others, right? Supporting others doesn't diminish your own shine. Cheering on your friends and colleagues actually fuels your confidence. Plus, it creates a supportive community, which is awesome. Finally, fake it till you make it. All right? Now, this doesn't mean pretending to be someone you're not. But it does mean owning your space. Right? Project confidence even when you don't even feel it completely. Right? Before a big presentation, do a little power pose. You know, Superman style, or one of your favorite wrestlers, whatever it is. It sounds silly, but you feel more in control. I used to do that. I used to do that with T-Mobile when I would do my training. I would do it with United Healthcare whenever I do my training in Aflac. I would stand in a back area, and in my head I'd be kind of playing this theme music, and I would bust through the doors, like it's the start of a show, or and just I'm in that mode and get ready to go, right? So, really, here's the bottom line, right? We all experience self-doubt at some time, but imposter syndrome is a story we tell ourselves. All right? So, let's rewrite the narrative, friends. Let's acknowledge our accomplishments, all right? Celebrate our journeys, and support each other on the way. Okay? So, here's a fun challenge for you this week. All right? Here's what I want you to do. I want you to grab a piece of paper or use your smartphone or whatever, and I want you to keep a wins list. All right? So every time you accomplish something, whether it be big or small, write it down. At the end of the week, take a look at the list and see just how awesome you truly are. And celebrate those victories, big or small. You know? The victory of... one of the things, I have a lot of friends who are, getting into health and fitness and getting over that hump. And even sometimes with me, I need to get over that hump. It's like, it's not being at the gym. It's all the small things you do beforehand. The alarm goes off. You hit it. You pull the covers off. That's a win. You get your feet on the ground. That's a win. You start to put your clothes on. That's a win. Put your sneakers on. That's a win. You get up and you leave your room. That's a win. You walk to the gym, or if you do stuff in your house, whatever it is, your spot. That's a win. You start the first exercise. That's a win. So instead of sitting in your bed, hitting that snooze alarm and feeling guilty, we're taking small little steps to create big giant victories for us. So, how about this? How about another one? I want you to find a quote that inspires you. Okay? Write it down and stick it somewhere where you'll see it every day. Okay? So anything that kind of gets you going, get your heart going, get your head going, and get you excited, find it, write it, put it on a sticky note, put it on your phone as the background, whatever you want to do. Stick it somewhere so you can see it every day. One of the things I do is I schedule them. I schedule them throughout my day. So I have ones that inspire me to make sure that I'm getting to the gym in the morning. So I got ones scheduled at 5:15 and 5:30. I've got ones, right before I start my work day. I got some in midday. I got some in lunch. I got some at the end of the day, and I got ones that before I go to bed. So I created this whole thing of quotes. So you know what? You can think of a quote during the morning and be excited, but then you drift off and you lose your way. So having a series of these that are constantly coming in and reminding you, help to re-elevate that energy and that spirit, right? Every time imposter syndrome creeps up, read the quote, remember it, and remember you're awesome, right? So that's just another one that I would definitely look at. So again, keep a wins list, find a quote that inspires you, and stick it somewhere where you can see it. Again, you can do one, you can do multiple ones, you can schedule them throughout your day so you can keep that energy up. All right? Remember, imposter syndrome doesn't define you. You are capable. You are worthy. And you have so much to offer the world. So why don't you go out there and crush it, okay? And with that being said, I want to thank you so much for listening to the Catalyst Podcast. Raw, real, and unedited. My name is Jason. And again, you can find Catalyst at Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. You can hear the podcast created through Spreaker on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, iHeart, and Amazon. A Catalyst has the power to create change, and we hope that's what this podcast will do. Again, if you would like to be a part of this podcast as a guest or a contributor, you can email us at catalystmotivation561@gmail.com. catalystmotivation561@gmail.com. Thank you so much for listening to episode 42. We will see you again on episode 43. Again, thank you so much. Again, spread the word. Let people know about it. I just want this to be something that, can be a guidepost and help people to live better lives and go be great. So, go be great. We'll see you on episode 43. Thanks so much.